Welcome, traders. Today is the 27th of August. I'm doing this special update to try to keep you aware of what I believe is going to be a very explosive move over the next few weeks and months, particularly in Bitcoin and gold, as well as silver. But we're going to focus on Bitcoin and gold right now. My predictive modeling has shown that Bitcoin may move into a very aggressive upward phase in early September, sometime between the 3rd and the 7th, potentially rallying up to just under $30,000 after reaching levels close to 18,000 or below between now and September 3rd. That gives us basically a week, and Bitcoin is already moving down to the $20,000 level, so it doesn't have far to go to reach the 18,000, which is my first prediction, which was made about a week and a half ago. But I want you to pay attention to what would likely happen if my prediction comes true, and what would be the catalyst. What would be the catalyst, in my opinion, and this is again my opinion, so hear me out and listen and think. I don't believe the Fed is going to move very aggressively like we've seen in the past. I believe they're going to move in 0.25% to 0.5% interest rate increases over the next maybe 6 months or more to try to stomp down inflation. I believe they're fairly happy with what they've seen already. I believe the market dynamics are changing, and the energy price inflation related to lack of supply, partly because of Europe and Russia, partly because of the U.S. production and others, is going to abate over time, especially as demand destruction takes place, which is consumers and economy slowing down. But what we have here in this SPY chart relates to an ABC downward move, setting up a potential E wave here, which may see a D wave down in this area. So I'm going to draw a line that may project a D wave coming potentially down like this. Could go to any one of these levels. This blue level here is 326. This level here is 296, and this gray level down here is 261, 262. Either one of these downside levels would be a viable target, ladies and gentlemen. But in my opinion, this is a wave 4 correction, which would likely end around these areas, or as you can see down below, we have these lower downside targets from 2018, actually 15 and 16 back over here, these lower areas from 2015-16. And what this tells us is that we have a real chance at a downside move, potentially down into these areas. A wave 4 correction would likely end somewhere in this area or this area, and then begin a wave 5 up to the upside. And this is going to be our last big rally phase. So what would cause this kind of a rotation where we see a downside move, we see a contraction in the U.S. economy and global economy, and then we start a big, massive rally phase in the U.S. That may not be seen overseas? And what I believe is likely to happen is I believe we're likely to see global economy, foreign economies really struggle over the next 3 to 5 years, pushing more and more assets into the U.S. market, which may become the safe haven in the global economy as supply and inflation and economic crisis, credit debt crisis plays out overseas. Now, what would that do to gold and speculative assets like Bitcoin and cryptos, particularly Bitcoin? Bitcoin could rally substantially as foreign capital traders move money away from risk and into something that is potentially decentralized and moving away from global central bank concerns. Also is very, very portable. Can essentially save your money over there through an asset, a crypto wallet or digital wallet, and take it with you anywhere you can get to in the world. Now, what would it do for gold? Gold would do hypothetically the same thing. So let's take a look at gold. And gold is holding up extremely well. Remember, this is a weekly chart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this load. It's loading my Fibonacci modeling system. And we're going to take a look here at gold and some of the predictions that I made many, many months ago. This is essentially what I believe is likely to happen after we see this major bottom set up, which is still holding up quite well. We've rallied back off of this bottom. We've seen this bottom set up and get retested 4 times. We've got major support taking place right over here. And if we can get enough of an upward momentum in gold, we could see a move up into this area, 2800, fairly quickly before we see it go even further. And I drew this many, many months ago in a video that I did showing the real upward potential for gold, which is well above 7,500. But understand that we're at this phase now where gold and silver become a very viable asset class to hedge against extreme risk, potentially extreme credit risk, global credit risk, not necessarily in the U.S., I believe. The U.S., I believe the Fed has the capability of mitigating concerns regard to debt. I believe foreign markets, China, Asia, Africa, Europe, South America, potentially even Canada, could move themselves into a very desperate situation if they're not capable of managing their debt concerns fairly aggressively. So understand that gold is holding up above 1,700 an ounce and is really, in my opinion, about ready to start to skyrocket after last week's, well, I should say the last 50 or 60 days of selling. Now we take a look at Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin was trading below 20,000 last, or around 20,000 last I looked. Now I'm going to spread this back out and drag this back over. So Bitcoin is currently trading, so it is trading at 20,420. And let's go to daily, so we can see, yeah, 20,420. And it looks like it's selling off fairly aggressively, just as I predicted. You can see these yellow lines here are the predicted levels that I had drawn. Let me spread this around, try to get this to show you. So these yellow lines are what I had drawn, showing what Bitcoin was capable of doing. And essentially what happens here, ladies and gentlemen, is we need to get down below this level. This low, which is historically right in this level. I'll move this up a little bit to about there. We need to get kind of below the 8,000, 18,000, let's call it 400, 500 level for my prediction to actually come true. And that is, we need to come down here. We need to retest these lows. We need to see this happen over the next early portion of next week by Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Come down here and test this 14,000 or 18,400, 18,200 level. And then once it hits this level, if it starts to rebound back up, my predictive modeling system is predicting that it could go up to around this level. Ideally, 30,000 was the predicted level, but could go upward even higher on a speculative wave. What would drive this speculative wave? I believe it could be some kind of a meltdown event, something taking place where capital rushes into Bitcoin, starts a big wave to the upside. Gold could also follow, simply because gold could prompt a very big move to the upside as fear causes capital to move into hedging instruments, and Bitcoin could become a very solid hedging instrument. So right now, the predictions that my predictive modeling system showed was that there was a very good chance it would get down to this 18,400, 500 level or lower, find support by early September, end of August, early September, and start to rally. And then if we can get back up above, hypothetically, this 22, let's call it 22,400 to 22,000, 23,500, we can get above this level, really clearly getting a good solid bounce off of this move. I'll draw a box to kind of show you. It basically needs to move between these levels here to the upside. They can do this and move off of these lows back up above these levels. Then we have a very good chance we're going to see move up to 30,000, potentially up to 35, 36,000, which would be an incredibly large move to the upside for Bitcoin. So pay attention. Early September here, which is again when we're going to start to see real solid expectation of growth. The Fed could be making a big move. We could see global central banks, like we saw China, indicate a massive stimulus. If we see some major failure or some crisis event take place or a war, you could see a ton of capital moving into safe havens, hedging investments, and other assets. It could mean the U.S. dollar continues to rally, and it could mean that U.S. equity assets like the S&P and the NASDAQ may find some unique support as money tries to move away from risk and into safer U.S. assets. But again, this is just an update showing you that this Bitcoin prediction is playing out very cleanly, and there's a very good chance that gold could be doing the exact same thing. Gold could turn around and really begin to accelerate to the upside. You can see here we've got a move here in gold where we get up to 1910, and here is 1967. So we have a real strong potential of gold finding support after rebounding last week and moving back up into this area or this area and attempting to find a base. Now, gold could come from this area back down to here and then attempt to rally even higher, but the next big move appears to be moving into safe havens, and that may be a shift in global capital away from currency risk and economic risk into stronger safe haven economies like the U.S., like gold, like silver, and others. In fact, let's take a look at silver real quick. Silver's holding up down here off of this base. We've seen a big dumping of silver, as you can see here, May, June, July, actually from back over a year, April. We have blown through historical support. I'm going to shrink this as far as I can here. Okay, so we have the COVID lows. We have our rotation. We are down at the 618 levels. So we now have a solid 618 recovery phase where we had been holding up in this area, which is above the 50% recovery area. The next scenario that we have here, ladies and gentlemen, is if gold starts to take off, silver will do the same thing. Silver will begin to rally up into this area, maybe dance around a little bit, then move up into this area, maybe dance around a little bit, and then be back up into the $26, $27 area fairly quickly. If gold does what I expect, it really starts to rally, silver could begin to really take off. And let's take a look here on a weekly basis what my Fibonacci modeling system is telling us. Fibonacci modeling system is telling us, again, the 2715 area is the upper target right now for silver. We have a lower target down here at 2474, and silver is trading at 1870.75 roughly. So we have a very good opportunity here to see silver move back up into this area. I'll draw a line right in this area or this area on this recovery move. Particularly if Bitcoin begins to accelerate up, that's going to see show a move to safe haven, move to a revamping of safe haven and speculative trading in safe haven assets, and I believe gold and silver will follow. In fact, it's going to be kind of interesting to see here. Let's insert a symbol. And here is silver to Bitcoin below. You can almost see kind of a follow through. You can see the rally here in silver. You can see the rally in Bitcoin was a little late. You can see the sideways selling in silver represented a bit of sideways selling in Bitcoin. You can see the breakdown here in silver coming down to these lows. Remember, this is weekly, kind of followed this same line right here. And now Bitcoin is holding up. So if Bitcoin were to do what I'm saying, move from the 18,000 level up to 30 or 35, about like this, that would mean that silver would potentially be doing the same thing, which would be a doubling in price. So for 18, say, let's call it $18 here, in theory, silver could easily move up to the 26 to roughly $36 area if it were to double, and that would mean we could see silver move kind of like this up into that area. All right, that's your update right now. Let's see how it plays out. Remember, we need to see Bitcoin move down around 18,000, 18,400 roughly. It's got to get down into that previous support zone back down over here, which is these lows down here, around 18,005, 18,400. Once it gets below those levels, then the setup is fairly well complete, and all we need to do is start to see some upward capitulation. Then I think we're going to see it move to 30, 32,000, possibly to 36,000 fairly quickly, possibly within just a matter of weeks. And I believe metals could follow the move in Bitcoin, as I've been telling you.